So Nvidia is set to report earnings tomorrow after the market closes, and here is everything that you need to know before it reports. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. What's going on, guys? It's Ricky. I really hope that I earn your thumbs up. Please consider subscribing if you feel like we earned it. So I do plan to live stream Nvidia reporting earnings tomorrow. I just want to make sure enough people show up, right? So it's going to be reporting after the market closes. If you would like me to go live, just get this video to over 1,000 likes. That means that all you literally have to do is smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. So with that being said, again, Nvidia is set to report earnings tomorrow, and let's talk about the earnings per share and the revenue expectation. So 89 cents is the earnings per share, and revenue expectation is $43 billion. As you can see, based off of Nvidia's track record, and just like we've talked about in the past before, Nvidia is a well-oiled machine. There is a reason why Wall Street loves it. It continues to exceed market's expectation for earnings per share and also revenue. The only thing that I really want to highlight is the possible concern of the restrictions due to, again, the current administration that they might be placing on individual companies. Just like you guys recently heard, there was a 25% tariff that was slapped on Samsung and Apple devices. This came out of nowhere. It's not necessarily Apple's fault. It's just because the administration wants them to manufacture within the US. So again, who knows if more things like this can continue to present themselves. But again, the focus for Nvidia's outlook will likely set the tone for the tech industry going forward in 2025. Investors will be watching for comments on Nvidia's China sales as a company grapples with more US export controls and increased competition in the country. So the CEO, which is Jensen Huang, recently criticized the U.S. export restrictions, as many of you guys heard a few weeks ago, or maybe it was 1 or 2 months ago, where Trump announced pretty much this ban or this restriction for Nvidia to sell to China. And he called these things a failure because he also saw that the China market could become a $50 billion market in the up and coming years. And again, there is no question that if they restrict to be able to sell these advanced chips in China, there's companies like DeepSeek, who again has influenced US markets based off of their advancements that they have made recently, that has made a lot of investors question if the expense behind Nvidia is worth it. The only other thing that I also want to quickly highlight is the thing to pay attention to is our other billion and trillion dollar companies still pouring billions of dollars into AI advancements. So again, that has to do more with guidance of what's to come for Nvidia, because remember, Nvidia is a chip manufacturer, especially for AI. They produce one of the most advanced and powerful chips when it comes down to AI. So they have billion-dollar companies like Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, Google that they are working with, that they manufacture for. But those companies are spending billions of dollars pouring money into Nvidia, which is great for Nvidia. But if the hype doesn't continue or the demand begins to fall, this can change the overall outlook or the guidance for 2025 or 2026. So again, just something to take into consideration. So we talked about the earnings per share and we talked about the overall guidance. There's really not much to it other than that. And I'm just going to share with you, especially for those that are beginners, I personally do not like trading. There's a big difference of being invested and trading during earnings. I am invested in Nvidia long term. I purchased Nvidia for my long-term portfolio when it dropped below or fell below recently below $100 per share. As it's recovered, I didn't buy a ton where, even if it does sell off 8%, I would welcome it because I want to load up more on Nvidia. My intention, my timeline is not to sell Nvidia anytime soon. I'm holding it for myself long-term, as well as for my daughter and for my lady Rachel, where they each have their own investment portfolio and they're each invested into Nvidia within themselves. So when you look at the larger time frame, is Nvidia a cheap stock based off of recent patterns? It's just something to take into consideration, right? So if you look at recent patterns, and again, I'm telling you this as I'm invested in Nvidia. So is Nvidia cheap based off of previous highs? No, right? So we could see from 135 of where we're at right now, based off of previous highs of 153, it does offer some upside potential, 12 to 13%. It's important to highlight that. But the downside potential, if trade war continues to become an issue, if we experience some form of downturn, which is not, for sure, right? But it's always a possibility, something you always need to take into consideration, is definitely much greater. The downside is much greater than the potential upside. Obviously, Nvidia is a very strong company over a long period of time, incredibly bullish. It does trade at a little bit of a higher PE ratio, but nothing too crazy, right? So if you compare it to something like that's a terrible company, TEM, it has a negative PE ratio. But if you pull up something like Nvidia does trade at a premium, meaning that with its P ratio, 45.3 times its earnings. It's kind of like a little bit higher than Apple. Apple trades at about 30 times its earnings, so it's a little bit of a premium. 45 is not too bad. It is a little overextended, but again, there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of excitement when it comes down to AI advancements, and Nvidia is the market leader. Right? Can we say that? It's the world leader when it comes down to the industry and the space that it's involved in. So it's earned this spot, in my opinion. And you guys know that I love to criticize these stocks and I love to talk about the BS. But Nvidia really does back it up. They're fundamentally a very well-run company, and technically it's also a very strong performing stock. So very bullish, long-term. They continue to exceed market's expectation. It wouldn't be much of a surprise if it does exceed tomorrow. The only question or curveball is, are these geopolitical issues with our current administration going to be something that gets in the way? Because if it does, that's truly out of Nvidia's control. It's just working with the current administration to try to please, both parties. So it's an odd position to be in because this company is so big that it can get those restrictions placed on it, as we've seen in the past before. It's unfortunate, but obviously it comes with the territory. Other than that, I wanted to quickly show you, you guys could find this all online as well. And it just talks about the recent performance of Nvidia based off of its Q4 filing of 2024. And it says fair market value is right around 139, currently at 135, extended hours 13641, and everything when it comes down to the management, the product reviews, the employees, the moat, the financials, the key metrics, just like everything is very, very well structured for Nvidia. And again, tomorrow after the market closes, it's set to report earnings. It's one of the most valuable companies that's publicly traded at a $3.3 trillion market cap. And I think that this is why a lot of people are excited. We want to see what's ahead for Nvidia. And if it gaps up, a lot of people are assuming that it's going to be an 8% move. 8% move either on the upside or 8% move either on the downside. And based off of that move, even though you might not be invested in Nvidia, if you're invested in the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ, because Nvidia has such a large influence, whatever it does will most likely influence whatever stocks it is that you're invested in if they're also a part of NASDAQ and the S&P 500. Just something to pay attention to and to be aware of so you're not surprised or scared if you do capture that kind of reaction from it. So again, really excited to see Nvidia report earnings tomorrow. A friendly reminder for beginners, there's nothing wrong with just watching. You don't have to trade and you don't have to be invested if this is your first kind of rodeo watching a big tech company report earnings. So really excited to share this kind of process with you guys. I hope to see you tomorrow after the market closes. And again, all I ask you to do is drop a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. For those that want to watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow, I trade live every single morning. You get to see all of my good trades, all of my bad trades. It's designed for complete beginners. And if you want to tune on in, we have a discount link for you. It's the second link in the description down below. You can sign up and watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.